Hey everybody, if you're in a restaurant or hotel business, you know how crucial it is to manage costs without sacrificing quality. That's where FoodBuy, the largest GPO in the industry, comes in. With FoodBuy, you gain access to exclusive pricing, unmatched buying power, and a vast network of trusted suppliers, all designed to help you save time and money. Whether you're running a high-end hotel or a bustling restaurant, FoodBuy is your one-stop partner to streamline purchasing and get the best deals. Want to see how they're changing the game? Visit foodbuy.com today and take your supply chain to the next level. That's foodbuy.com, making smarter purchasing easier than ever.
Live from Toast Studios in New York City, it's the Hospitality Hangout Podcast with the restaurant guy and the finance guy. Toast, built for restaurants, built for you.
I like it. I was wondering what tagline you're going to use for Toast. I like that a lot. I like it. Listen, I want to welcome everyone more formally to the Hospitality Hangout, a hospitality-focused podcast where the founders at Branded Hospitality share their insights and bring technology.
We got a doozy, Jimbo.
Bring technology and innovation and restaurant leaders that are making things happen in the industry we love. My name is Jimmy Frischling, otherwise known as the finance guy, but to bring back my brother from another mother, Mr. Michael Schatzberg, also known as the restaurant guy.
And thank you for the kind introduction, Jimmy. And to all those listening, feel free to call me Shatsy. We are at the intersection of hospitality, technology, innovation, emerging brands, capital, Jimbo, and I would say Italian food. Jimbo, we know something about Italian food. We know you like to eat Italian food.
I like to eat it.
I like to eat Italian food.
I like to drink Italian wines.
I got to tell you, we are at the intersection of Italian food, technology, emerging brands, capital, it all. I got to tell you, Jimbo, before I get started, I got to tell you, what did I say years ago about my point of sale system? What did I say? What did I say?
You said you would never change your point of sale.
And what do they say? Never say never.
Never say never. I laughed when you said it. I'm like, oh my God, you're literally going to test this thesis? Never say never? You said you'd never change. And then what happened?
I found a point of sale system. Jimbo, they are helping over 112,463, 465, 67, 12,700. It just keeps going, Jimbo. Restaurants, they are just the clock is ticking. You know what they are? Jimbo, Toast. It is the Apple of point of sale. It's the Apple of point of sale. And I got to tell you, Jimbo, I am loving it. We switched it to all of our restaurants. Now, 19 restaurants all have Toast point of sale. And if you ask the staff, the managers, the team, you know what they all say?
What do they say?
We love Toast. And you know what I did? I wrote a jingle. Toast point of sale, we love you. All right, Jimbo, let's kick it off because we got a great guest.
Well,
that's great.
Yeah.
You like that jingle?
Yeah, you know what I want to add to all that?
Toast point of sale, we love you.
I'm going to add nothing to that. That stands on its own.
That stands.
Also, I want to distance myself from that jingle. I think you got to work a little harder.
I'll work on it. I just put that together just now.
All right, listen. The fact is, we do have a great episode today, and Shats and I, we had that little pre-show discussion because we've got to make sure that we deliver the level of information, insights, and intel that you as our guests have been known to expect from us, because we are going to have a lot of fun today. We have our friend, our newest partner, Mr. John Meadow, president and founder of LDV Hospitality. And I got to tell you, the entire office is already excited because not many guests show up not only on time, they show up bringing gifts. We've got an incredible spread from LDV of Italian snacks, foods.
It's delicious.
It's by the way, everyone's already eating. We're in here recording, and they're out eating lunch. But we'll get there eventually. But we're super excited to have John on the show today. Chachi, I'm going to jump in if it's okay.
With trivia. Oh, you're going to jump in with Trivia Tuesday?
Because we got to bring John in. We are three gentlemen that none of us are shy of, let's say, sharing our thoughts.
Do you hear the match game music?
Yep. So I'm just going to quickly give you, we release our podcast on Tuesdays. We're going to do our Trivia Tuesday. I'm going to share 3 factoids about our friend John. Stick around to the end of the episode. We'll figure out if Shats can guess which
I've been hot. I'm hot,
which
baby.
of the 2 factoids are true and which factoid is not true, also known as a lie. And here we go. Fact 1. John is trilingual. Trilingual.
I can believe that. The guy's so good looking. How can he not be?
So good looking, you get as many languages.
100%, obviously.
All right. Fact 2. John played competitive national tennis.
I can believe that. He's so good looking.
Yes. Fact 3. Fact 3. John broke his wrist in a boxing match. And again,
I can only say he's wearing a brace on his
He happens to have a brace on it. Now, it's not a cast, but he does have a brace on his right wrist. I mean, full disclosure, John came in not showing off. It's hard not to notice he's got a brace on his right wrist. So fact 1, John is trilingual. Fact 2, John played competitive national tennis. Fact 3, broke his wrist in a boxing match. Stick around to the end of the episode, and we'll let Shats try to figure out which are the 2 truths and which one's the not truth. Again, also known as a lie. All right?
I got to tell you, I am really excited about this one because the cast is saying that, he broke his wrist in his boxing match. But we're going to see. Listen, before we get into introducing John, he's got to sit here for another 45 minutes.
He's like, wait a second, am I part of this podcast? So
Another
I'm just
45
you guys
minutes.
lunch.
Because we like to find out how did our guests get to the position they are.
Your Fraser Crane moment.
Yes, so I'm going to give some fun facts about John Meadow. Are you ready? His first job was a dishwasher at Oban Pond.
We love the dishwasher.
Do you remember Oban Pond, Jimbo?
Yes. And how about the fact, how many of our CEOs and how many C-suite members started in this industry as dishwashers?
A lot. And I talked about my coffee table book, Jimbo. Yep. It's coming. It's in the works. Okay, he went to Cornell. I think Cornell knows a little something about hospitality,
A little bit.
He graduated early. Most people, 4, 6, 8 years, John. First, 1 semester. That's all it took. And he graduated with some crazy degree in 1 semester. That's how smart this guy is, right? And he went to Rome. And that's where he learned his first of 3 languages.
I think English might have been the first one. I could be wrong.
Well, yeah. English, his second. Yeah. English, it was Italian, and then Hebrew. But we'll get to that, okay? Then he moves back to New York City, right? Because he missed New York City. His family were like, and he starts working at the Plaza Hotel.
Love the Plaza.
Okay, he loved the Plaza. He was there. He was doing things there I can't even talk about. Spends a year at the Plaza, right? And he decides to open up a bar called Local West. The success of Local West was so unbelievable.
Big.
That he opens up Gin Lane. Remember that place?
So.
But still good. And then the light bulb goes off. He thinks New York. He thinks Rome. He thinks languages. And he says Scarpetta. Scarpetta. He opens up Scarpetta, forms LDV Hospitality, and Jimbo, here we are. Let me just bring in, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, here he is, Mr. John Meadow, CEO, founder, chairman of the board of LDV Hospitality. John, welcome to the program. How did I do on that introduction?
Phenomenal, and I knew it was exciting to see you guys this morning. I didn't know that you had the most spectacular music in the whole damn game. I wanted to sit
baby. That's
back
the
and
chairman of the
listen.
board
Like I'm
music,
on the
baby.
Love Bug.
John is the chairman of the board. He is the chairman.
I love it. So how much did I get right?
90%.
90%. You see, Jimbo? I do my research, Jimbo.
You really did do your research.
Yeah.
And by you doing the research, we know that means our producer and director, Julie.
Oh, somebody has to do the research, Jimmy. I'm a busy man.
By the way, I have to say, I don't want to insult one of our long-standing guests. Sterling Douglas says, I have to demote Sterling. I think he has maybe the best hair that's ever been on the podcast.
Yes.
But I think my daughter would agree. My young daughter would agree. As you said, I don't think we've had a more a distinguished gentleman / good-looking person on our show.
I got to tell you.
I'm glad we have
video. say that from a fully heterosexual standpoint.
Hardly a gentleman, but thank you, Jim.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, Jimbo, let's just jump into it, man.
All right. Listen, John, we are super excited to have you on our show today. Longtime listeners know I love isms. I love, theory statements that
long emails.
Long emails. Definitely love long emails. But I love you have one that rings so true to Shats and me. You've talked about hospitality and said this business chooses you. And that just resonated with me. You know, we heard about your professional timeline, and all that rings true. We've spoken to so many guests, and they talk about their first job being in restaurants, and they fell in love with it. And you went on to get, graduate school degrees in hospitality. I guess I would say opening a restaurant is kind of like, that is to me a master's degree. And it's simple. You either pass with success or you fail with, unfortunately, less than success. So you shared with us about your maybe less than moment with Gin Lane. Shatsy highlighted the incredible
There's definitely a question coming, right?
Yeah, there's a question coming. Because that's a long question.
He's got dinner plans.
So you had your highs with Local West at the young age of 24, and you had a grand slam, and then you opened up Gin Lane, and again, at age 26, you're almost filing bankruptcy just a few years later. Talk to us about the highs, the lows, but again, this is an industry that chose you, and here you are a few years later, riding high with some really great stories. Tell us about that, the past, the fail, the highs and low, and your master's degree in restaurantology.
Restaurantology.
Really brought me down on that question.
Oh, sorry.
The bankruptcy thing. You really brought me down on that one.
Listen,
He's here to tell the story.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we have the good and the bad and the ugly. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's go.
The good, the bad, and the ugly. The punchline of the business chooses you. I think when you bend, it's easy when you're winning to want to stay in something. I think when you bend through hell and back, and you have the conviction that this is what you want to do, that's a true life passion. And that's what I always refer to. I think, as simple as a moment starting as a dishwasher, if you actually like that. Remember, I got promoted to all-bun pan sandwich maker.
You didn't tell me that. I didn't get that in my fun
make
facts.
The turkey sandwich and give it, and I loved it. And I'm like, wow, if this drives my happiness, maybe this is what I should be doing.
So you were making turkey sandwiches.
Making turkey, love the turkey sandwich. But I even like being a dishwasher.
I
remember during COVID, the world's falling to an end. My wife says, what are you going to do if it's all over? I said, I'm going to open a pizzeria. I've never done a pizzeria. I love this business. And whether it's the tough immigrant that has less choices, less fortunate than someone educated like myself, or someone that chose to pursue it, at the end of the day, there's a lot easier ways to make a buck. And I think that it's passion is the driver. Passion's not enough. You need a life education. And I think that my early formative years, I was blessed with a good college education, and you learn a lot, certainly from an academic standpoint. But real life success, and more importantly, failures, I think that really does define who you are. My mentor in this business is a guy named Lenny Chu. Lenny is a Korean immigrant, was a taxi driver, formed Lenwich. Now he's the Milwaukee Bucks' first ever Asian American. Tough, but he always his ism number one was, in tough times, people show their true colors. Mm-hmm. And I think that the reality of the restaurant is every day is a tough time. Every day. Because there's no walk in the park. And, I'm grateful that this business chose me. Local West.
What are you playing with over there?
I had this crazy ADD I like to touch.
Okay, all right, keep it going. Did you bring that from home?
No, I found it.
You found it here?
I would have. I
might. We brought that for you.
John,
we supplied that.
I bring you beautiful Stromboli, and you bring us.
I give you that. Yes, I give you that. Okay, take it. I didn't know. I didn't know if that was something nervous twitch or something. I don't know. It's okay. Keep it. I got to tell you. Listen, it is so true. And look, Jimmy, I'm going to say something I don't want to make fun. I'm going to say as a New Yorker, but I know I'm from New Jersey. But as a New Yorker, we know firsthand how great Scarpetta is. I think as a New Jersey, born in New Jersey, lived in New York a long time. So as a New Jerseyan that lives in New York now, Jimmy, I know how good Scarpetta is.
Making you nervous, Shatsy?
Well, because you made fun of New Jersey. Yes. Jimmy doesn't like New Jersey. It's a fact.
Not true.
Jimmy, it's a Jimbo. It's a fact. We all know it. But his first girlfriend, where was she from, Jimmy?
That's why I got a driver's license.
Where was she from?
Jersey. That's why I got a driver's license.
That's why he hates New Jersey so much. There's something there, and we're going to find out after this podcast.
Jersey all right.
It is. But we know Scarpetta opened up in New York, I think 18 years ago. Am I right about that?
16 years.
16 years ago, Scarpetta, and it opened up fanfare. It was like, I mean, we've had great Italian restaurants in New York forever and ever, but when Scarpetta opened, it was really game-changing what you did, with an Italian restaurant, the coolness, the hipness, the great food, the whole thing, right? And then, location in Vegas, I've been to with Jimmy many times. You got Philly, and then you started international growth. I mean, now you've got London, Doha, Tokyo, Rome. I mean, who opens a New York Italian restaurant in Rome other than John? I mean, that's chutzpah. That's chutzpah, right? And we talked about that at dinner. It's crazy. You know what I mean? Could you share more about your international experience and how the locals, especially in Rome, I mean, a New York City Italian restaurant opens in Italy. That's nuts to me. And how they're responding to a New York-born Italian restaurant in Rome. I love this story.
So I think with the international, I always say we're not in the chain business, right? So every restaurant, we currently 9 Scarpetta locations, 5 countries. Every restaurant has to have a certain nuance adaptation for a local market, whether that's the menu, whether that's the seating arrangements, the music type, etc.
Yep. You can keep playing with
Rome. We took a lot of Rome. I know the city well. LDV stands for La Dolce Vita, which is a Roman construct unto itself. I know the city. I've had a life there. I love it there. And that's the one that we really tweaked the most for the marketplace. Most specifically, my grandfather was Italian. He only wore Brooks Brothers. There's always been this anglicized aspiration that they have. And Romans, ask a Roman, ask an Italian in general, but ask a Roman, what's the best restaurant in America? 99 out of 100 will say Peter Luger's. They give great credibility to the provenance and the heritage of the New York American steak.
Sure, that makes sense, yeah.
So our tweak for Rome, we called it Scarpetta NYC, and we went super heavy on the steak program. So you have our Scarpetta classics, but then a whole menu section dedicated to effectively the American steakhouse. And that was our adaptation. So in Montauk, we call it Scarpetta Beach. We're doing a seafood version of it in Soho, Cala Scarpetta, Rome Scarpetta, NYC. And the NYC speaks to the origins, going all the way back to Delmonico's, the original New York restaurant, which is effectively the steakhouse.
So you're getting, we talk about, you're getting the big deal. You're getting the big deal social, elite, so to speak, in Rome are going to Scarpetta. You're getting
They're
the
going
big
to
deal.
Scarpetta on the roof. My grandmother was tough. She used to say, "You are nothing, my good time Charlie." So we named the roof deck bar Good Time Charlie.
Oh, that's a great name. That's a great name.
Jab at Nonna because she was tough.
That's a good one.
Everywhere we go, our job is to bring the right mix of locals to integrate with the traveling and create that beautiful, hot, eclectic mess that makes for a restaurant. That's our job.
I love it. I love it. You know something? We got some breaking news here, Jimmy, and I want to just bring it in real quick, if I may.
Bring it in?
It's bringing it in. I hear the music. This has just come over the wires, Jimmy. You know how we break news. CNBC's got nothing on the hospitality hangout. John, I'm going to have to interrupt our podcast because there's breaking news right now. Jimmy, it's come over the wires right now. I'm reading it right now. After 3 years of focus on international growth, it's right here. LDV is now going to be opening 5. That's right, 5 or 6, I don't know. 5 new concepts here in New York. And there's no place like home. John, what can you tell us? 5 or 6? New concepts, new locations, breaking news. It's not clear. This is coming right up from Reuters right now as we speak. John, what can you tell us?
Post-COVID, I was scared. I didn't want to take the risk, and I always wanted to travel. London was really exciting for us, and we did that. We're happy with that. We're going to continue to do that. You mentioned Doha, Tokyo, Rome. We're doing Saudi, Madrid, Rio. But at the end of the day, as much as I love to travel, from an economic standpoint, from the fact that I can walk into any New York restaurant and say hello to a busboy. And you know what? We need busboys in restaurants. Mm-hmm. And we live in this town that there's
dishwashing bus with a backbone, baby.
Backbone. 9 million people living in shoeboxes, social people that choose to be here largely, and they want the action. There's no market like New York City. So my soul-searching life journey, traveling around, I realized what I set out to do in life was just to open a restaurant in New York. So let's go back to that and grow here at home.
I love
it.
So
we have 5 or 6 in our pipeline between New York City and the Hamptons. We're not ready to talk about all of them.
Okay.
Most recently, 2 weeks ago, we opened our first hotel, LDV at the Maidstone. We took over. The Maidstone Hotel is the oldest running business in the Hamptons.
I mean, that's big news. I mean, it's not breaking because it broke like last week you opened, right?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. But I mean, that's
news.
pretty
it's
unbelievable.
The culmination. It really was a dream of mine to go into the hotel space and be able to do it in the oldest, most iconic hotel property on the Hamptons. Been a big, exciting play for us. Next up, just down the street, we're going to be neighbors.
Yep.
Yeah.
In partnership, not in competition.
Yeah, we can't be
We took the old Beecher's cheese space on 20th and Broadway, and we're going to do a new restaurant there called Barlume. Barlume means a glimmer in Italian. Our premise there is an all-day Mediterranean social hang.
I love it.
Similar to Barbunya in terms of high-octane social, etc. Barbunya, for me, feels a bit more like a destination nighttime restaurant. Obviously, you crush it with the brunch and the whole thing.
Sure.
There's an Israeli foundation to the Mediterranean. Ours will be an Italian adaptation of that Mediterranean base.
But I got to tell you, the more the merrier in the neighborhood. We love it. And Jimmy and I need another place to go and eat and drink.
and the neighborhood's amazing. Look at the history of that neighborhood between Gramercy Tavern, Residora, Barbunya. There's so much there, and we're excited and humbled.
It's funny because you bring up COVID, and I would say one of the say one of the good things, that would be the wrong thing.
Silver lining.
A silver lining, if you would. This neighborhood during COVID, where, if your restaurant was kind of in those areas that were densely offices, whether you were by Grand Central or in Midtown, areas that were really office, they got crushed. Not that everyone else, but it really crushed, Our area, because it has such a great mix of residential and business and office, it really it kept it very vibrant. So a lot of people working from home, they lived and worked, so it was really a great area.
Flatiron Nomad and you said the word mix, and mix is what's always made New York City the greatest place in the world.
Yeah.
You have everything: tourist, residential, office. It all comes together here, and it's a
We love it.
No, I think often people also, they talk about wanting to be the only good joint in a neighborhood, and we take the other opinion is we want to be part of a community that has lots of great restaurants, because then people come down, they experience one, they see another. You want to be, and it creates such energy. So I can't wait for you to open.
That's the magic of the New York night, right? To bounce around, not have an exact plan, and just kind of like let it flow.
Yep.
The 90s was like that. I think we're losing that, but when you have these certain neighborhoods of social density, that magic still happens.
I think when you see a Burger King, you see a McDonald's. When you see a Lowe's, you see a Home Depot.
High-time
I think that, man, the more the merrier, baby.
Well, I love that after your tour, your travel tour, you're coming back home. Shatsy, you're home too.
Thank you, Jimbo.
After you left Jersey. But with almost 800,000.
How many years enough?
It's
never enough.
It's never enough. All right, we had 800,000 restaurants on or about in this country. We had 23,000 restaurants alone in New York City.
Exactly 800,000,
Okay.
Jimmy?
Give or take.
Okay.
I'll leave the numbers to you.
Oh, thank you, Jimmy.
No, I don't.
800,464.
There you go.
That's the number.
I'll take.
I count.
I'll say you're wrong. I don't know which way you're wrong, but I know you're wrong. But I love that, and we talked about the density. I talk about it's almost like a saturation of the market. The diners have so many choices and options, and that's really unlike other industries. I mean, 4 airlines control almost 85% of the flights in this country. 4 banks dominate the industry. In our industry, it's dominated by SMBs, and 70% are independents and small and medium-sized businesses. But to me, what Scarpetta and what LDV screams is really, it's the Pareto principle. Otherwise known as the 80-20 rule. That for the hospitality industry, and so many other.
John Pareto or Bob?
He just goes like share. Or
like Shatsy?
Like Shatsy.
It's just Pareto?
It's Pareto.
Oh,
but 80% of your 80% of your sales, of your revenues, come from 20% of your guests. And that to me is where your company and LDV just excels, because you are so good about lifestyle. You're so good about treating people. So you certainly treat the new customers as guests. But I think, and I was at your restaurant at LDV at the Maidstone, and we just had a fantastic time. But I think there's a loyalty element that you guys exude. So can you share a little bit about how you guys at LDV are really focused on the loyalty and creating this lifestyle for your guests? Because I think that's really, when I was spending time, and I've been to your Scarpetta, and now I've been to LDV, but from the moment you walk in, it's like I don't say your family, but I have to tell you,
sexy, Jimmy.
Yep.
It's sexy.
But talk about the lifestyle.
I always say, if you just want pasta and red wine, stay at home. You can make pasta at home. You don't.
You
go
heard
out
that.
for
You
pasta.
heard that here first. John Meadow, if you want pasta and red wine, you stay home. If you want
Why do you go
sexy,
out?
you go to
Why do you go
Scarpetta.
out?
Why do you go out? You go out to
be
feel
with people,
something,
feel
to
good,
be
baby.
around community,
Yes.
feel good, baby.
Agree.
And I think that's fostered first and foremost by a human connection. We treat everyone nicely. There's some famous operators that everyone is equal and so on and so forth, and we don't treat everyone with respect and be grateful that they're coming to your establishment. But that loyal repeat guest, that 20%, it does make up 80%, whether or not in dollars, in awareness, in word of mouth, et cetera. And we go above and beyond with a human effort to take care of and cultivate that guest. In the realm of Big Brother's watching, I don't like it if I go on my wife's Instagram to look at something and then it shows up on mine and I still don't understand how that happens. In a restaurant, if you know...
By the way, nobody does.
Nobody does. If you walk into a restaurant and if we know that you're a lefty, we know that you like Bordeaux, we know that you like Bud Light, whatever your preference
Why do I like Bud Light and he likes Bordeaux? What you looking at me? I'm Bud Light guy?
By the way, John got it right. You know what's even worse, John? He puts his Bud Light on ice. He puts it on ice.
Yeah, I got it.
I like Coors Light, and I actually like it on ice with a little salt and lemon. But Big Brother's watching in a restaurant. Everyone wants to be loved and recognized, and there's a lot of effort out there in the CRM platform. We use 7 rooms. We've been an early adapter to 7 rooms since day one. We have our director of guest experience, Brian Siegel, has been with me for about 10 years. His whole business and his whole crew of 4 or 5 people. We have an LDV lifestyle guest profile. There's about 7,000 people on that. And he's literally their concierge to our restaurants. Right. And if you text him on a Tuesday at 2 in the morning, he's responding to you. You're in Miami and you want to know where to go get late night Cuban food. Brian's there to take care of it.
That's amazing.
So it's not rocket science. Mm-hmm. It's about prioritizing and taking care of people and pushing forth and putting and allocating the resource to do so. But that recognition, getting to know your daughter, remembering her name the next time, you know how good that's going to be. We happen to be friends.
Remember his daughter's name?
Sylvie, of course.
There you go.
But
boom, Jimbo! Look at that. That you see what you see right there? That's what I'm talking about.
Actually,
he's practicing what he's preaching.
John, of course it is. He lives it.
No bullshit.
It's the hospitality can apply to so many things. For us, it happens to be the food and beverage and the experiences that are created in these restaurants. You could always go a little bit above and beyond for your guest or your customer, your client or your patient, whatever it is. But in your joys. And by the way, nice shout out to 7 Rooms, our friends at 7 Rooms, Joel and Allie and the team there. We knew those guys at the very beginning, and they really have. And I love that you're leveraging that platform to create this. Again,
but the desire is not enough, right?
Yes.
You need a vehicle, you need a structure, and that for us is 7 Rooms. But I think to your comment about the type of hospitality, pre-COVID, you had the realm of the celebrity chef and the Food Network and a lot of esoteric, intellectually stimulating, interesting things. Post-COVID, I think we're back to the heart. Frank Bruni had a great comment. In his 30s, he wanted an interesting restaurant. In his 40s, he wanted a power restaurant. In his 50s, he wanted a martini. Right? At the end of the day, restaurateur, restore one's soul, the nurturing, taking care of people. That's what this is about.
I always use the line, back to the basics we throw in a lot. Yeah. But I think at the end of the day, it's always back to the basics, It's to your point. It's good
especially
food,
now.
It's good service, it's good atmosphere, it's action, it's just that, right? And to your point, people, look, you have so many reasons not to go out. I have so many streaming services on my phone, on my big giant Samsung, 85-inch. I can order from anybody I want, 85, 90, whatever it is, 4K, 5K. I mean, forget about it. I have so many reasons not to go out, and I can get food delivered and wine, everything. So you really have to make a reason to get people off their couch. And that,
but as the guest, don't you feel that feeling?
You don't get that at home.
Anywhere.
You got to get the energy. I mean, we had dinner a couple weeks ago at Scarpetta. I mean, the energy. And the people, good-looking people, good food. It was just, it's magic.
It's fun to go out. By the way, this next segment is sponsored by Samsung. They're 85 to 90-something inch screens. LG, call me if you want to get involved. Samsung, the flat screen of Schatzberg.
Yes.
We recently had Sam Bakshandapur. I got it right this time.
Sam B.
CEO of Jose Andres Group. He was on the podcast, and he was talking about owning the whole customer experience through hospitality. And that includes both the hotel and the restaurant and really just the whole thing. And that is, you really now have, with LDV at the Maidstone, as we talked a little earlier about, you now have and own the full house, not front of house, not back of house. You have the full house experience out at the Maidstone. Share a little more about that, because that's kind of somewhat of a new frontier for a group that's been doing this for a little while. I expect there's going to be more of this, but more about the kind of the amorphous language of hospitality that now you're in the Maidstone, as you said, 150-year property out there, the oldest hotel out there. My sense is that's not the one and only. I think this is a path that LDV is going to be going down, but talk about that a little bit.
I think the beauty and the math punchline at a business level is 1 + 1 can equal 3, right? To your point, when you really...
I use 11.
That's good. That's even better.
Yes, 1 + 1.
When you steer the customer journey, and when it's amorphous, and amorphous is the right word, right? LDV at the Maidstone. So the Maidstone is this refined East Hampton, old guard thing. LDV, La Dolce Vita, the Mediterranean, a certain level of sensuality and vibiness, and how those two join, right? That means the Frette linens in the room, the Santa Maria Novella soaps. It's the same logo and the same illustration, the same feel on the linens in the dining room. Every little detail tells and personifies and illustrates the same feeling. The guests don't have to know all of those details. They're just supposed to feel it. Our job is to create a feeling for the guests. It's a very...
Well, I know it because I take all that soap and shampoo.
Me too.
I take the Frette sheets.
You're taking light bulbs.
Yeah, I bring it into the suitcase when I travel.
I take the
sheets. I take the robe. I take
Sheets
the
is a
whole
little
thing.
bold, Chet.
You
The
come
robe
into
is
my
super
room when I'm done. There's nothing.
Please take the robe. We'll charge you for the robe. The sheets is fine. But I think it really allows us to just dial it up and to create an experience that resonates, right? We're in 18 different hotels and we have a different relationship with our various hotel partners. Sometimes when it's not amorphous, when it's not truly integrated, it can be slightly disjointed, right? And that's not what the guest is there for. The guest wants to just
Seamless.
indulge in our vibe and have a seamless experience, and that's what we get to create. And the economics are good.
I will say, because again, I've been to the Maidstone years ago, and I was out there just recently, and I have to say, it was genuine. From the moment you walked in, actually, from the moment you got out of your car, there was an Airstream, the Gucci coffee shop. There was a Moke,
Free Gucci. Free Gucci coffee.
Free Gucci coffee.
Not fancy.
Yep. Free Gucci
snotty Gucci coffee. Free coffee.
Free coffee.
Come one, come all.
From the moment you walked in, the rocking chairs, and then you walk in, and the entire establishment had this. It was seamless. It was connected, and it was so different. And no disrespect to the previous operator there, but I will say it was not just a meaningful step up in the restaurant, but the entire venue felt lighter and livelier. So I thought that was really great.
Thank you for saying that. I appreciate that you felt that, and that was our whole objective.
I love it. I got to tell you, I can't wait to get out there. But right now, Jimmy, we've got to jump into our hot or not segment. Because we can talk about LDV Maidstone forever. Right now, John, are you ready to play hot or not?
I'm here, baby.
Food service world.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you, I'm going to say just a couple of words, a couple of lines. You say,
making me nervous.
Hot or not? Take one of these little things and play around with the Twiddle with that a little bit.
I got my own thing to play with. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, you eat, Jimbo. You skin and bones.
Skin and bones.
All right, here we go. QR code menus, hot or not?
Not.
Social media influencers, hot or not?
Hot. Begrudgingly.
Classic cocktails, hot or not?
Hot.
Jimbo, would you like to weigh in on hot or not?
I do, and actually, I could play with any of these things. But I actually, the one that John reacted to with a hot but somewhat of a
begrudgingly.
But I think so. That's what I want to ask him to expand upon. So Shatch is about the influencers. It's still hot, somewhat begrudgingly.
Wasn't really hot. It was hot.
No, but
It was
but that's not. You know what? Look, I agree with him on the QR codes, especially for LDV, this brand. That would be nonsensical. The cocktails, I agree with solidly. I would love his insights or sharing some additional thoughts on the importance to LDV and others on the influencer community and the role they continue to play.
I'll tell you a quick story.
Please.
2016, I met Gary Vaynerchuk for the first time, the guru of digital media. And it was a social thing where 8 people, and he very quickly realized that I was relatively technologically inept and a little bit old-fashioned in certain regards. So he says, okay, let's do a focus group, and you're going to be the guinea pig. Okay, great. How do you make a restaurant hot? It's easy. Celebrity comes into the restaurant, publicist puts it in page 6, and you keep doing that. He says, okay, today. He goes, tomorrow, that methodology, that specific Samantha Jones and Sex and the City character, it's an archaic dinosaur. Mm-hmm. It was 2016. It took me a few years to realize he was right.
Sure.
Ultimately, social media has democratized the way that we perceive relevance. I have a lot of gripes with it. I don't let my 12-year-old daughter on it. And hopefully I can prolong that as much as possible. But the reality is, a lot of people, a lot of our guests, and not just 25-year-old cool kids, a lot of our guests perceive and define what is aspirational to them and mediums like Instagram.
Yeah.
And if you want to fight it forever, then again, what's your objective? If you just want to win awards, then what old guard critics might say, okay, win your awards. If you want to fill up your restaurant every night, there's a reality that there's a huge amount of demographics, it's only increasing, that they go to social media to understand what their value system is and what they want. So you have to engage with it.
We agree. And we were probably, despite running a significant tech investment firm, I mean, we've made 51 investments, and the super majority of them are B2B SaaS, really operator-centric.
Sure.
But I'll tell you that embracing Instagram alone and creating Instagrammable moments, and not to bring up LDV at the Maidstone again, but I'll tell you this.
They'll bring it up again, Jim. You haven't brought it up.
The plates particularly have bursting colors. My wife was taking pictures of the plates. She wasn't boasting to her friends on social media about, but we're not the biggest use of social media. She was excited to share pictures of the plates with her friends. And where are we? Oh, we're at LDV. But it was, so there were so many moments.
You bring up a great, the balance of art and commerce and the whole thing. I can say with absolute conviction, we do not make one decision based off of let's do this because it'll work for Instagram.
Right.
And I think clearly there's a lot of people who do this.
Instagrammable.
But that's a load of shit that ultimately that's a soulless restaurant.
Right.
Yours is authentic.
Ginori plates.
Yep.
Right? Ginori is a Florentine handmade artisanal maker from the 1600s. Right? And it's one of the most iconic
Design,
plateware manufacturers, et cetera. And we said, okay, if the premise, we've never done colored plates anywhere in anything I've ever done. But in my home, I'm happy to have colorful plates. I remember when we got married, and you go and you register, and my wife wanted this blue and white British china, let's say, right? The whole premise of LDV at the Maidstone is it's supposed to be your home in the Hamptons.
Yep.
And therefore, it's okay for us not to be this perfect minimalist,
a white plate so the food
white
shines
crisp
kind of thing, which is...
The food doesn't shine. I freak out every time I see where we're doing one of our signature pastas, spaghetti with squid ink spaghetti with uni and crab meat, and we're doing it on this crazy, colorful pink plate. The food looks horrible.
Right.
But you know what? It feels like our chef
Right.
made it
feels
for
like
you
you're in your house, in your
place,
dining room.
And then
We noted it.
So therein lies something genuine. How do you communicate these wild, colorful plates? Well, Instagram is a great vehicle to do it.
And that's what.
And therefore, we stand by that.
Yeah, no, it was it was authentic. It was genuine. It wasn't in our face, but it brought joy, and it did feel like we're at someone's home having dinner out in the backyard. So it was lovely.
And it wasn't contrived. You can tell when it's contrived and calculated to be Instagrammable. And at the end of the day, what are you there for?
I got to tell you, I'm getting hungry, and I can't wait to go and check out these plates. I'm really excited about these plates.
Shatsy, if you steal one of those plates, so help me God.
Why do you say that? Just because I'm going to take all the
You already
soap
talked about
and all the
you
sheets
already talked about
and all the
sheets.
robes?
Yeah, don't take the plates.
I wouldn't take one. I would take a set. I'm going to do it with one plate. I take four.
I want to kick into talking back. Clearly, Shatsy and I, especially Shatsy, likes to jibber jab. But we learned along the way. You know, it took us about 200 plus episodes to figure out that our guest sometimes has a question for us. So here's talking back. John, we give you the microphone. As we like to say, nothing is off the table. The microphone is yours if you have a question for us.
I have a corny question.
No such thing.
There's kind of a corny romantic. You two clearly are brothers in arms and business partners and best of friends. And it's beautiful to watch the band. And you both love New York City. So don't take the following as morbid. It's a sweet question.
Make fun of Jersey again?
Never. You guys decide to retire tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's your last weekend in New York City as business partner and friends before you sail off into your sunset.
Okay.
What is your ultimate dining social day together in New York?
Wow. That's a good one.
And it's a nice day. It's a spring
Nice day.
It's May, no humidity, birds are chirping, everyone's out and about.
Shatsy, yeah, I like this.
It's like, wow, that is a good one. So it's like I'm thinking like I'm outside, you know. I'm thinking I'm outside. I'm like, but am I taking the meal or the restaurant? I'm like,
No, you guys have a 12-hour hall pass. It starts at lunch and it ends with a cocktail at midnight.
Yep.
So you're gonna have lunch, you're gonna have afternoon drinks, you're gonna go to dinner, then you're gonna go for drinks after the dinner. What are you doing?
Wow. That's a lot. That's a lot for me. You know, Jimbo, I got ADD. I can't think like that.
Yeah,
because for me, I love a hotel bar.
Yeah.
So I would know a
So what
hotel
hotel bar
bar would need to be in there in some way, shape, or form, you know? I don't know, but I love a hotel bar. You can go, like, I could go old school, you know, like St. Regis. But I like, you know.
That's a bar. The King Cole Bar's a bar.
It's like, and breakfast. I love Jimbo.
Well, he said 12. He did 12 hours. We ain't going 18 hours. I ain't spending 18 hours with you. I'm gonna
lunch.
Yeah, I'm jumping in.
Go.
I'm jumping in.
Dude,
And by the way,
this.
I've known you for it's like coming up. It's not 4 decades, but I've known you for 40 years. How many times have you and I been to the King Cole bar together?
6.
None.
What does that mean? We can't go?
That's
shameful.
And by the way, I love the King Cole bar. I've been there. Maybe Schatz, you know what? I'll take you there to the King Cole bar. But I know what we're gonna do. First of all, we're gonna go downstairs to Isabel's because you're waiting for the tech where the restaurant knows what you want. I say that exists. It's called Your Restaurant Downstairs. We're gonna start going downstairs, sitting at the table that's somewhat should be egress. It shouldn't be a table, but it's by the windows. The doors are open. We have all the traffic on Park Avenue South. We're going right to Scotches. I know it's summer. We're going right to the real stuff. You're doing your Johnny Black, Johnny Gold. I'm doing Macallan 12s. We're gonna eat there for a little bit, but then we're gonna go to an Italian joint. We'll probably end up at Nicola's uptown because Romano knows our name. We're gonna get a front table like we always do. And Romano's going to make a meal for us.
Oh, that's why I got Jimbo. That's why he's my partner.
And along the way...
Because you see, you're not going to get better than this.
Along the way, Jillian's going to call you and say, you said you were coming home. Why aren't you coming home? That's my boy. That's my invitation to Jillian. Barbara's going to not out with you too long, and I'll see you tomorrow.
I'm tearing up here. But it's
going to be an afternoon of drinking, good food, and going to restaurants that know our name. That's what it's going to be.
Cheers had it right.
Ditto.
Cheers had it right.
I couldn't think about all that stuff, but that's what I wanted to do.
By the way, the King Cole, though, was lovely.
That's all I could come up with.
And Bobby, love the King Cole. We haven't been to the King Cole.
Some granola and yogurt, maybe.
We're gonna walk into the King Cole. We're gonna walk into the King Cole. They're gonna go, where you guys from? Chicago? Where you from?
Oh, man, that was good, Jimbo. You see, that's why I love you, man. You could come up with this shit, you know? I couldn't come up with it, man. It was so perfect. It was the best date I've ever had with you. It was a perfect date. It was a perfect date. It was a great question. All right, listen, we got to get back into something really serious right now.
Yeah, really serious.
No, because this is really no joke, okay? We're going to go into a little bit of Name That Recipe.
Ooh.
Name That Recipe. Are you ready for Name That Recipe?
3 bartenders are
All right, here we go. We got bartender. I gotta get a little music for Name That Recipe. Are you ready? All right. I'm going to ask you to name a recipe. You're gonna name a cocktail, all right? I'm gonna give you ingredients. You're gonna tell me how many ingredients you need to name that recipe. All right, Jimbo, bartender.
Yes.
John,
Dishwasher.
Bartender, dishwasher / turkey sandwich maker. But you know, believe me, he knows a little bit something about bartending. Don't worry about that, okay?
Something.
All right, here we go. First, I'm gonna ask how many ingredients you need. John, how many ingredients? What?
How many are in the drink?
Oh, I gotta tell you that?
I think you have to tell me the drink, and then we're gonna compete.
3, 4. All right, there's 5 ingredients in this drink. Hey, don't be looking, John. Play with your Q-tip or your thing over
I want to make sure you counted the 5 right.
Yeah, all right. How many ingredients do you need?
3.
He can name it in 3.
I need 5. I'll try and 4.
All right, are you ready?
John,
ready?
Let's see if John can name
John
it in 3.
Meadow. 3 ingredients to name that recipe. Cognac, orange liqueur / Cointreau, lemon juice. I will repeat that. Cognac, orange liqueur, lemon juice. 3 of the 5 ingredients. Name that recipe.
Sidecar.
Ding, ding, ding. This man is a big winner, Jimbo. Unbelievable. That's right. Orange peel and a little sugar rim, and you got the sidecar. This man knows something about hospitality.
That was damn good. By the way, I after he said it, I was like, that makes sense. You could have given me all 5 ingredients until John said it, and you could have given me all 5, and I've been like, I don't know.
Unbelievable. Jimbo, let's go right back into it right now. We got to go right back into our famous... You know we're going right now, right, Jimmy?
Yes, I do.
God, the music is good here.
Go right into match game, Jimbo.
We're going to match game?
Yeah, we'll go right into match.
Go play match game.
Trivia Tuesday.
Oh, match game ain't trivia. Oh, I think match game ain't Trivia Tuesday.
Well, this is all right. This is Trivia Tuesday for me.
Oh.
Trivia Tuesday and match game, same thing for me in my world.
I appreciate that.
World of Shadsy.
Okay, I got you. Now I know what we're playing. Match game, also known as Trivia Tuesday.
Yes.
I gave you 3 factoids about our friend John at the top of the hour, top of the show. John is trilingual. John played competitive national tennis. John broke his wrist in a boxing match. What says you, Mr. Schatzberg?
I say that John can speak 2.5 languages. He broke his wrist, and I think he broke it. His wrist is clearly fucked up right now, but I don't know if it's broken because it doesn't look like a hard cast. I think you need with a broken cast. And boxing.
And by the way,
boxing. He didn't say the weekend. He's just over the restaurant. Where's he talking about?
He didn't say he broke his wrist this weekend boxing, but he happened to have a bad wrist. Shatsy, you can't hedge. Which two are true? Which is false?
I don't think he played competitive tennis. I don't.
At least 3 languages.
Yeah.
So which is the false?
All right. ¿Cómo está? I don't think he played competitive tennis.
Okay.
That's false.
There it is. That's the falsity.
I think he broke his wrist in a boxing match, and I think John speaks multiple languages. I'm sticking by it. You're good looking, you speak a lot of languages. Look at me. I'm not that good looking, I don't speak a lot of languages.
All right, John. Shatsy's logged his choice. What is the truth? What are the truths and what's the not truth?
I feel a little sneaky because it's a technicality.
Now those are all out.
I mean, come on. What are we?
I wish it was a boxing match.
Uh-oh.
It was just a bag. It was me versus the bag, and I rolled the wrist.
Oh, really?
It broke every single day.
So does that count?
10 weeks ago, it counts because it was supposed to be a fight, like a macho fight.
Yeah.
If it was a macho, like if Jimmy and I went downstairs and we duked it out, that's like a story to tell.
Yes.
Story to tell.
If the heavy bag breaks
Your
all the
wrist.
ligaments in
It's
your
not
wrist,
much of a story.
That's a sad story.
So yes to trilingual. Yes to the competitive.
So as a tennis player, I'm trilingual, but there was no boxing match. It was just
You were a competitive national tennis player.
I was a tennis player, but it's the bag against me.
Oh, wait a minute. It says
and the
competitive
bag
national.
broke me.
That's what threw me. That's what threw me.
Competitive national threat.
Oh, you said national.
Yes.
I did. I played in national tournaments. Yeah. I was a tennis player.
A tennis player.
But apparently I'm not a
tennis
boxer.
player. But I'm a tennis player.
No, I played in all the tournaments and rankings and all that.
I got a tournament too. I play with Jillian.
Shatsy,
We play all the time.
Shatsy, you maxed out at JV soccer.
The bag beat
Great
me.
corner.
Bag beat you.
That's the
So what's
self-implication.
the third
The
language?
Bag beat
Yeah, let me hear you in
What's the third
language.
language?
Italian and Spanish.
Italian, Spanish. See, you said
No,
no,
it's not.
No.
I feel like I got a little Hebrew in there.
By the way, I agree with John. By the way, you break your hand, you break your wrist in a boxing match. It's a great story. You break it on a bag.
Terrible.
I tore my quad. People, how'd you tear your quad? Skiing. What we call
10 weeks ago, I just did the MRI. All the ligaments are shot. Now I can't play tennis all summer, Shatsy.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. You can play left-handed.
I'm not.
You're not ambidextrous? You can learn. I think you can learn. If you can learn 3 languages,
I
you can
played
learn
the
how to play.
Kadima on the beach with my daughter.
There you go.
Left hand.
Yeah. I'm sorry about the hand.
Sorry for the bag.
Then I have to go up to the tables at the restaurant and sit there and, it's all
All right, now we got to jump. We got to jump in. Jimbo, we got to jump into
most famous segment.
Branded Quickfire, the best segment in the entire world. Are you ready? This is the Olympics of podcast moments.
Podcast gold, Jerry.
This is podcast gold. This is not me speaking.
Joe Rogan
Everyone
speaking.
says, with the Olympics coming up, I am going to ask you 5 lightning round questions. Are you ready, sir?
Yes, sir.
John Meadow, Olympics tennis star, Olympic boxer, trilingual athlete.
Yes.
Here we go. John, what is your go-to karaoke song?
Welcome to the jungle, Guns N' Roses.
Nice. What's your most used app on the phone?
Delta.
Nice.
Delta is ready when you are. Me too. Favorite room service meal?
Turkey club, martini, fries.
Back to the club. Back to the turkey sandwiches.
I love that. I love that. I
But
love that.
crispy bacon. it's
No,
hot
but I mean the
stuff.
turkey club with the martini. I love that. I mean, the room. It's so good. What's your Uber rating right now?
Oh, I had a tough morning. I took the Uber in. I'm babysitting someone else's dog. They puked in the back seat. We got off
the
on
Uber?
We got off on the Long Island Expressway. We had to clean it up on the side of the road. That's why I showed up here 2 minutes before the thing. Historically, I'm off the charts.
So what were you before the vomit?
I think I'm in high 4s.
Yeah.
I think it's
but we don't know the exact.
I don't know the
Jimmy's
exact.
a 4. What are you, 4'9"?
I was better until I
Although
started.
the guy today was a sweetheart. He was an absolute gentleman. So I don't think he'd dig me.
By the way, Shatsi's a gentleman in Uber, but when it's my Uber that I ordered, I pick him up, all of a sudden he gets very bossy. When it's his Uber, he's very polite. When it's my Uber, very bossy.
Because he wants to play with your rating.
Yeah, that's my rating. That's how this question
my
came up.
jam,
He's trying to
baby.
lower my rating.
That's my.
Well, I got to tell you. All right, here's the last one. So Uber rating was very high until this instance.
Nah, they were nice. I'm sure.
No, the guy was a gem. The guy was
Really?
a sweetheart. We cleaned up the vomit together. And the whole thing. On the side of L.A., exit 56 to be exact.
Yeah, no, I know that area. If you were to challenge Jimmy Ride to a game at darts, oh boy, who do you have better odds of beating? Darts, bar darts.
Remember his ADD comment earlier. Either one, he'd lose interest.
I got to tell you,
I think Shatsy.
you could beat me.
I think so.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
Jimmy fucking really good at darts.
OG boy.
Jimmy, and he's really competitive, and he'll just
Jimmy's
keep playing.
on a nice partnership, brotherhood day at 1 in the afternoon. He wants scotch. That's
Yeah.
a boy, At the end of the day, that's someone that knows how
If
to
you
handle
take
it.
Jimmy to, I remember playing what was shuffleboard at some outing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, dude, the guy takes the table over. I mean, get angry and brings the rules, and he starts. I mean, really?
I wouldn't have thought you're the rule.
Oh,
that's annoying.
You ain't playing any bar. You're not going to a bar.
I'm just
playing
saying-
games with Jimmy and just winging it.
No, you can be an alpha superstar without being a rule.
I just own the tape. I'll say this: there are certain games in bars, not driving. Everybody, don't do this at all. But with a couple drinks in you, darts, bowling, billiards, shuffleboard, you lose that inhibition, and maybe the dartboard's a little foggy. But you know what?
No,
You're
that's
throwing.
it.
You're throwing.
No, Jimmy's very good at darts.
when it flows.
When it flows.
I
When
would
my
say-
wrist comes back, we'll play, Jay.
There we
I'm
go.
just telling you, if you want a bar game partner,
Bar game.
Buck Hunter, hey,
this
Top
is-
Golf.
this is the guy.
Not Top Golf. What do you know? It's the one where you spin,
Shuffle.
the golf. No, the golf.
Look up.
You know.
I'm video games on my bag.
Oh, shut up. You could do it. Buck Hunter.
Beirut.
Anyway,
Okay.
Bob, let's
All right.
bring it home, man,
All right.
because this guy's got restaurants to open.
Yes, and we've got some LDV deliciousness to enjoy out on the floor. John, we really do want to thank you so much. We had a great time with you today, but more importantly, Scarpetta. John mentioned 16 years old. Their store over at the Jane Hotel actually at its highest grossing year. Not that that matters for everybody, but the fact that a restaurant 16 years old is putting up its biggest numbers.
Crazy.
That to me shows about how this brand is not sustained current, but just has such a loyal following. We're super excited to be partnering with you on your journey.
As am I, guys.
And
Thank
we
you.
love your team and appreciate being able to get involved. If you want to get in touch with John directly, you can email the podcast team at podcast@strategic.com.
I have a cell phone also I give out.
That was a rookie move. We don't give out
Really?
cell phones.
But if you're but VIPs, what about the VIP reservations?
You email us and we'll
Give it out, Shatsy.
Yeah, I'm giving out the number.
Humble host.
It's 888-555-5555.
Shatsy, you want to DJ the Seville one of these nights?
Yeah.
You can do like a throwback feel.
Yeah, let's do it, man. Let's do it.
Now we're talking.
Yeah.
By the way, Shatsy, I will absolutely show up to that night and enjoy myself while you're
Bring
working.
Georgie. My little Georgie's
I think this is
DJ.
great. And listen, I never want to let a podcast episode come to an end without thanking our listeners. You guys continue to support us. We continue to grow. We continue to have great guests like John Meadow join us, and we appreciate it. And we always want to make this fun. We want to drop some knowledge and some infotainment. We also want to have a good time while doing it.
Today was knowledge. I mean,
Today's
this could be the
knowledge.
most, I think, probably the smartest podcast we've
There
ever
you go.
done. You're walking away with this, and you're like, you're smart.
They have
You came in, you weren't smart, you're leaving, you're very smart.
it's like a degree in hospitality today.
This was Jimmy, you know what it was? It was the Olympics
The Olympics.
of podcasting.
Gold medal.
Gold medal. All right, Shatsy, I'm going to let you close this out.
I gotta tell you what, if you want to find out everything happening with LDVs at LDV.com, LDV Hospitality.
LDVhospitality.com.
LDVhospitality.com. Check it out. You'll see all the openings, all the new stores, all their current restaurants. You can make reservations. I gotta tell you, it's awesome. I highly recommend checking out any of their stores. If you happen to be in Doha this week, check it out.
Tell them Shatsy sent you.
If you're in Riyadh in a few weeks, check it out. Yeah. And by the way, if you mention this podcast, Hostile Hangout, you get 30% off at Doha and Riyadh. That's only for a couple weeks. And if you're in Tokyo, you mention Shatsy, you get 10% off. And sushi, all the sushi you can eat. Cheers, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you very much.